Nighthawks by Edward Hopper. It is late. The city has gone quiet, and through the curved glass of a corner diner, a sliver of warm yellow light cuts into the blue darkness of the street. Pause. This is Nighthawks, one of the most recognizable paintings in the history of American art, completed by Edward Hopper in January of 1942. And yet, for all its familiarity, it remains a deeply mysterious image. The more you look, the less certain you become about what exactly is happening inside that diner. The artist. To understand the painting, we should first understand the man behind it. Edward Hopper was born in 1882 in Nyack, a small town on the Hudson River in New York State. From an early age, he was drawn to art, and after studying illustration, which he pursued only to earn a living, he trained under the painter Robert Henri in New York City. He made several trips to Europe in his 20s, where the work of the French Impressionists left a lasting impression on his approach to light. Pause. But success came slowly. For years, Hopper sold almost nothing. He supported himself as a commercial illustrator, a career he resented deeply. It wasn't until he was nearly 40 that he began to receive serious attention as a fine artist, first for his etchings, then for his watercolors of New England architecture, and finally for the oil paintings that would define his legacy. Hopper was a quiet, introspective man, often described as reserved, even cold, though those who knew him well recognized a sensitivity beneath the surface. He was married to fellow artist Josephine Nivison, who played an enormous, often underappreciated role in his career. She managed his correspondence, helped select his paintings for exhibition, and modeled for nearly every female figure he ever painted. Pause. The woman in the red dress in Nighthawks? That is Jo Hopper. The painting. Nighthawks was painted in the months following the attack on Pearl Harbor, when America had just entered the Second World War. Hopper himself said he was painting the loneliness of a large city, and the timing feels significant. There is a tension in the air of 1942 that seeps into the canvas, even if the painting depicts nothing violent, nothing overtly political. Pause. The scene is a diner, likely inspired by a restaurant Hopper observed on Greenwich Avenue in Manhattan, though he freely invented the composition. The diner is an island of artificial light in a dark, emptied street. No cars, no pedestrians, no visible door to enter from the outside. The building across the way is shuttered. The city, for all its implied scale, feels abandoned. The figures. Inside, there are 4 figures. Pause. The couple, a man in a dark suit and hat and a woman in a red dress, sit close together, yet they do not touch. The man examines something in his hand. The woman looks downward. They share the same space but seem unreachable to one another. Pause. To the left, a lone man sits with his back to us. His shoulders are slightly rounded. He has no companion. No food visible before him. He simply sits. Pause. Behind the counter, the attendant, the only person in motion, leans forward slightly, attending to something out of frame. He is working. He belongs here in a way the customers perhaps do not. Pause. What is remarkable about all 4 figures is what they do not do. They do not look at one another. They do not speak. They exist in proximity but not in connection. 4 people gathered in the same warm light, separated by invisible walls. Light and composition. Hopper was above all a painter of light, and here light does most of the emotional work. The interior of the diner glows with an almost aggressive brightness, a greenish-yellow warmth that spills out through the glass onto the sidewalk. It should feel welcoming. Instead, it feels exposed. The people inside are visible to anyone who might pass, and yet, paradoxically, there is no one to see them. They are illuminated and invisible at the same time. Pause. The geometry of the composition reinforces this feeling of enclosure without comfort. The long arc of the diner counter curves away from us, pushing the figures toward the far edge of the frame. The massive, uninterrupted wall of glass separates us from them completely. We are outside, looking in, perpetual observers, never participants. Legacy. Nighthawks entered the collection of the Art Institute of Chicago in 1942, the same year it was painted, and it has never left. It became, over the following decades, a touchstone of American culture, referenced in films, recreated in photographs, parodied, reimagined, and endlessly reproduced. Pause. What accounts for its endurance? Perhaps it is because Hopper captured something that has not aged, the specific loneliness of being surrounded by the infrastructure of modern life. The bright lights, the open businesses, the proximity of other human beings, and still feeling utterly, quietly, alone. Pause. Edward Hopper died in 1967 in his studio in New York at the age of 84. Joe died the following year. He had painted the American condition, its wide-open spaces, its architectural solitude, its particular kind of melancholy, more honestly, perhaps, than anyone before or since. Pause. And on the wall of that diner, if you look carefully, you can just make out the word Phillies, a cigar brand, an ordinary detail. Hopper always insisted there was no particular symbolism in his work. Pause, maybe that is exactly what makes it so haunting.